everybody, it's Allie Edwards and welcome back to December Daily for 2022. I am working on story number 3 today. Story number 3 is a foundation page that I put together for our product play workshop this year. It's actually, I think it's the last lesson in product play. Product plays workshop you can still sign up for. There are 30 different ideas for using 10 different products in there. This one particularly was using a variety of the pieces from one of the die cut sets that we offered this year, and I made kind of like a hanging mobile of things here. I think what I'm going to end up doing, I used fishing line for these. I think what I'll end up doing is probably sticking them down, because when you turn the page they're kind of shaking all over everywhere. So that's kind of what I'm thinking I'm going to do as I adhere these down. I've got the two, these are the actually the extra circles from the chipboard circles that are in the main kit. So when we do die cut nested chipboard like that, there's usually an extra piece that has the two different colors, right? The color that's on maybe the interior piece and then whatever's on the exterior, the outside piece too. These are going to be frames for some pictures, and the story that I'm telling today, actually this page goes with this. So this is the square paper or grid paper, I think that's in the main kit. I know there's a secondary version in the add-on paper pack, and essentially what I ended up doing was creating little window openings, or a larger window opening here that is going to be for my journaling. The story that I am telling today is, and I have two versions. Sometimes I print it out just on my laser printer first to make sure that I have the sizing correct there. So I've got that. I can even just use that one. But one of the things that I love to do, and that I do most Decembers or most holiday seasons, is have some amaryllis and paper white bulbs. These are bulbs that are forced, meaning that you put them in the dirt, or you can buy them that way already, and then they bloom indoors during a time of the year where not a lot of things are blooming outside. And so this year I got these a little bit early. I got them, the girls and I went to a wreath making workshop, which will be a story later on in my album. And so I have a couple pictures of them blooming. They're almost all in bloom right now, and so it's the 3rd of December and I basically want to go get more. So I actually might go out to the farm today and see if they have some more of them. But what I'm planning to do is that these are going to go inside of here, and I printed out a couple versions, but I think I'm going to go with this one. You could also do one on the back, but I think probably what I'm going to do is end up, this is what I need to figure out today, is the placement, right? Where do I want to place these? Do I want these up above and then these inside down below? That's kind of what I'm thinking about here. And then inside here, like I said, is my journaling. So I set up my journaling by just measuring this page and measuring the inside there, knowing where it was going to be. So I did this in Illustrator. You could also do it in Photoshop, and I'm simply going to adhere that on here, and then the back will be part of my next story. I printed it out on fancier paper, but I think it's actually just going to be just fine on here, and we'll keep it a little bit thinner. So this is one of those days where having a foundation page set up in advance, this page could have told a wide variety of stories. I could have told a story about kids, or my parents, or Aaron, or something else that's happening around the house. But this is this is a story that I definitely wanted to make sure that I told, partly because I'm getting so much joy from having the flowers in the house right now. I think what I'm going to do here, I think that I'm going to maybe cover up that washi tape along the edge. I'm not sure if I want to have that on there or not, so I think I'm just going to cover it up, and then if I want to, when I'm doing my story for tomorrow, I could put another strip on there rather than trying to cut it down exactly to size. Now, one thing about this one too is it doesn't have to be perfect, because it is going to be covered on the back. I'm just kind of trying to orient it, see how good of a job I did on getting it in the right place there. Let's see. That looks pretty good. So now I have my hidden journaling in the middle. All kinds of things you could put inside of here, right, too. You could have individual photos, but I knew that for me, I just wanted to have that be the home for my story. It looks like I could probably move it over to make it a little more in the middle there, so I might do that. Lots of different takeaway ideas from this one too, just in terms of having all these hanging embellishments, in terms of creating little open windows for journaling like I'm doing on this one. Lots of different little takeaways that might help you as you are doing your own storytelling this month too. Okay, I think that's close enough. All right, so that is inside there, and then obviously I'm just going to leave this side blank because I'm going to cover it with something tomorrow. Let's go ahead and punch the holes in there. So this also, you know, just talking about foundation pages and doing some things in advance, this is a good example of one that I did in advance that did take a while, right? And not having to then do all of it today works really well for me personally. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive, I think, right under there too, so that it's a little more stable. I just did it around the outside, but now that I'm seeing it, I think I want it right along the window there. On this side too. Okay, and then the other thing that I'm going to do is adding on those photos there, and I think with those, you could either, I'm probably going to use a circle punch and see how that works, just to punch exactly a 3-inch punch or 3-inch circle, but you could also just use the chipboard as a guide as you cut around the side of it too. Yeah, that's great. I like how that turned out. Okay, so we'll add that in there. Now we can pull, actually I don't even, let's pull this page out. So again, reminder, yesterday was the day where I did the story about the house and did the stitching on the photo. Some people also commented, Pam Baldwin, in one of our workshops that we have, which is called Playing with Paper. She also stitches on there, and then Paige Evans also does a ton of stitching too. So it was fun to be reminded of a variety of people that really go all in on the stitching. So I'm thinking I'm going to punch this. Sometimes I probably should have just waited and not cut this out. I've done this before where I was like, oh, I should have just not cut it out down to the 3 inches first, but this will work fine. Okay, so here's my circle punch. That makes it pretty easy. And then I'm going to need to have adhesive just around the outside edge there. Let's see if it's going to be, actually it looks like it's maybe even just a little bit bigger. It's almost like this fits on the inside. So I might need one, oh yeah, it does. It's all, oh, that's kind of cool. I wonder what I could do. I could actually like stitch it. Just get out, just do some more stitching. I think what I'm going to do is just do another circle that's a little bit bigger. You see how what I'm saying there is that that picture in and of itself can fit right inside there. And then I'll do a little bit of a bigger one on for the outside. So that might require a little more finessing there. Well, the other thing I could do is just not punch it, but I think I want to do the same thing on each one. Actually, you know what? It might not matter though, because if I am just going to adhere it down, that should be fine. Also, that's what I need to decide how is it going to get adhered on there. So those are going to be my photos for today. I could also just like adhere part of it down, like adhere those background circles down, and then this can, some of these can overlap a little bit too. Maybe that's what I did. I did leave the longer strings here in case I wanted to move things around or take them out, but I think that if I can just, you know what I might do is actually, since I am going to adhere this down, I think I'm just going to tape it in place. Tape it on the back there. But if you wanted to have them be, you know, be moving around or have movement with them, then you would probably want to back it with something else there too. I think I'm just going to add a little bit of tape. This is just going to hold it inside of the frame there. Okay, so one thing with this one in particular, I want it to be straight up and down, so let's see. All right, so maybe what I should do, let's go ahead and adhere these background circles down. I'm going to start with this one on the edge here and trim off the excess of the fishing line. Okay, and that's gonna cut down significantly. That's, so you can see there, that's what I wanna adhere down to. I might adhere these ones with some foam adhesive. I don't mind like if this guy's going on top there. I like that. How about, does this one wanna go on top too? Kind of layering them in together a little bit. But I think on this one on the bottom, I think I might wanna put a little bit of foam adhesive there. What that looks like if we just lift. Yeah. So now we've got these ones that can come up above if they want to. I don't like that. Let's see about that star. Kind of thinking about the layers, right, of where do all these layers fit on there. And then let's do the same thing over here with this guy. There, so we've got some things that can move and then other things that are stable. That'll work just fine. Okay, so then it still has some movement, but it's not as really, it was kind of too wobbly all over the place, I felt like. Love how that came together. Love featuring the florals here that are a big piece of my family history too. Oh, you know what else? I have the backs of these. Ooh, let's think of something else. Those are little 2x2, so I can easily put photos on the back. Maybe I'll see if I think I have a couple other photos, so I'm gonna do that. All right, so before I wrap this one up, there was one last thing that I wanted to do that I kind of forgot until I was looking at this at the end. These have the flaps on here. I wanted to put photos on the back side of them, and so I have 3 photos here. I was looking for photos that were from the beginning, right, when they were really short, and that's what this one is. The other 2 are still more right now, because I guess I didn't take as many photos of them in the very beginning. But I'm going to use a little bit of red line tape just to make sure that they really stick down on the back side of these flaps, and then I will call it good. A couple other thoughts that I had as I was working on this. If you were to flip through my albums over the last many years, I have lots of photos of these sorts of bulbs in the houses that I've lived in. Like, it's definitely a part of my parents' family tradition too, especially with the amaryllis. My dad really loves those. So it's something that when I don't have them, like there have been a couple years where I didn't get around to getting them set up. This year it was just easy because I bought them at the nursery, and so they were already in a pot. And that made it super easy, and they were actually already pretty far established when I got them. That just kind of made it all easy anyway, so I was happy to have them. I know some people hate the smell of the paper whites, but I don't mind it, and I just love having something blooming inside the house, and that's what I talk about in my journaling here too. So I'm just gonna align this as best as possible because I'm not gonna be able to do really any trimming on it, but it should still folds down. I think that's cute. I like having those on the inside. This is the kind of thing that finishes it off just a little bit, right? Like it's kind of the same thing where if I would have left those on there, I probably would have wanted to have something on the back of them if they were going to be more free-flowing than they are. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up, and then that will be it for today. All right, so that is super fun. Love how that turned out. All right, one other thing that I wanted to say too was I loved on yesterday's post with the stitching, checking out the comments on YouTube, lots of other helpful tips for things related to tying knots, things related to pulling the strands out, all stuff that, because I am new to that I don't know about. So I always appreciate when you guys leave your tips and suggestions in the comments. I think that helps everybody in our community learn and grow along the way. All right, we'll see you guys back here again tomorrow.